Today I will be showing you Swiss darning. Swiss darning is a darning technique for knitted fabric that is essentially duplicate stitch. This method reconstructs the knitted fabric so it blends in very nicely and maintains mostly the same amount of stretch as the surrounding fabric. If worked in the same yarn, it can be virtually invisible, but it is harder to work and more time consuming to work. To begin, you will need to get a square hole to work from. So I'm releasing stitches until I get live stitches on the bottom. And live stitches on the top. And you will have one fewer live stitch on top than on bottom. Let's see. That. Like so. So you can see I've got 2 live stitches plus a half and a half. And then at the bottom I should have 3 live stitches. So I've got let me pull the stitch back up there. One, 2, 3. So I've got 3, and then let me pull those strands to the side. There, I've got 3 live stitches. This one's a little bit there. 3 live stitches on the bottom and 2 on top plus a half on either side. So now that I have a square hole to work from, one method of stabilizing these, if it's a fairly large hole, is to use a piece of sewing thread or a cotton crochet thread, and I'm going to go away from the repair from front to back and then come out of the center of the bottom stitch from back to front. And then I catch that half a stitch and then from back to front come out of the center of the next, like so. And then go down into the center of that stitch and then come out of the center of the next stitch. And then into the center of that stitch and out of the center of the next. And then into the center. So come out the center to keep it untwisted. And then I will come out somewhere away. So I've stabilized those stitches. Now hopefully they will not unravel. And I can use this as a framework for my repair. So using this method, I will take my repair thread and thread it onto a tapestry needle. And I'm basically going to be working duplicate stitch, but for the hole, there's no framework to work the duplicate stitch. So that's where I use the red sewing thread, and I've placed a darning egg behind. So this is the first row of the repair. It builds out of the row below. So to start, I am going to get my frayed edges out of the way, because I'm going to begin by working a duplicate stitch in this intact, and I will leave a little bit of a tail to weave in later. And so to work a duplicate stitch, you just follow the path and try not to get your sewing thread caught in there. So like so. And now I move those strands away, and I come out of the center of that first stitch and I want these stitches to be about the same size, so I just kind of pull. So this strand needs to get out of my way. There we go. And now I use the red sewing thread as kind of an invisible, well, not invisible, but I use the red strands to anchor my loops. And so I'm making loops that will be my knitted row. And then I go down into the center and out of the center. I'm kind of stabilizing everything against the darning egg. Like so. And now I need to make another little loop. And now I go back into the center and come out of the center of the next. Like so. And one more. And I have to finish this one, so, and then I'm going to anchor it by going into the intact stitch on the left. So again, I want to make sure, I don't want to pull it too tight. I want these loops to kind of be the same size. So now I will make a duplicate stitch. And now when I go back into the center, I want to come up the row above. So I am going to catch that bar. I'm going in to the V and then pivoting and coming up out of the next V. Like so. Now I'm going to move from left to right. So I will move from left to right. This is awkward. Let me go this way. Get that. So I go into the center, and then I need to come out of the center of that loop without splitting it, like so. And again, oops, there we go. All right, I'll put the egg back in here. All right. Now again, I'm making loops stabilized by the red sewing thread that I did as a framework, but now I'm working left to right. And then down into the center, and now I'm going to come up out of the center of the one on the side. Here, so I've got one more row unsecured, and then the next row works into these stitches. So this Now we are not making unsecured loops for this row. We are making the final row that will join and finish this repair. So I will work this duplicate stitch, and I pivot and come out of the center of this loop right here. And then see this strand. There. Which will be this. So right here is where I want to catch, and then come out of the center of the next. Like so. And then down into the center of that stitch and pivot, come in this stitch and goes rolling around. The stitch is twisted, is wanting to twist, so I need to untwist it. Like so. Right, so going down into the center of that one, and then up out of the center of the next. And then down there, and then up there. And then down into the center of this one. Don't get your strands twisted. Up out of the center of the next. And then these two. Like so. And then here, and then this last stitch to secure and finish the repair. And I just go down into the back, and then there is the repair. It's kind of not quite even, so I could have spent more time to get them more even, but then I can weave in these as much as I can and weave in this tail, and then I'll cut and weave in this tail as well, but it maintains the stretch, and now I can simply pull. It will pucker the fabric, but if I've used a slippery enough thread there, that anchoring sewing thread can be removed. So that is Swiss darning. Thanks for watching.